Microsoft came out days before E3 2018 and announced they'd have 50 games at their show. Even factoring in the token indie game sizzle reel, that is one hell of a number. And in the end, Microsoft dunked on Sony and Nintendo's press conferences from a sheer numbers perspective. However, what matters more to me is quality over quantity. And in that sense, I thought Microsoft did pretty good, but not great. Let's take a look at what caught my eye at Microsoft's E3 2018 press conference. One thing is for sure, they started with a bang and ended the show with an even bigger bang. Halo Infinite was the first game they showed, and you play as Master Chief, so this does seem to be Halo 6 in everything but the name. Apparently, the game features a new engine, which was pretty surprising to me because I just figured this 343 trilogy of games would feature the same engine. As a result, the impression I got was that Halo Infinite does feel pretty early in development. We didn't even get a peek at any gameplay. We also didn't get a release date, and this was during a conference where plenty of 2019 games had a release date. So does that mean Halo Infinite misses 2019 and slips into 2020? I assumed we would get an announcement this year, maybe some gameplay at next year's E3, and a release in late 2019. But given the fact that they didn't even mention a release year at all, tells me we may be looking at a 2020 launch for Halo Infinite, which is a whole 5 years after the release of Halo 5. Considering 343 is developing an entirely new engine for the game, it's nice to see that they aren't resting on their laurels, and it definitely feels like this new Halo will be incredibly ambitious. So I for one am jumping on the hype train. The first big surprise of the show to me was From Software's new game showing up on the Xbox stage instead of Sony's stage. While the game is definitely releasing on multiple platforms, the first trailer for Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice was shown, complete with a bunch of gameplay footage, and I think it looks awesome. While many were worried at first to see that the game is actually being published by Activision, any negative feelings were instantly dashed when word came out that the game will be directed by the legendary Hidetaka Miyazaki, the man behind Demon's Souls, Dark Souls 1 and 3, and Bloodborne. Miyazaki's involvement basically confirmed to me that this game is going to be great. We've also learned that the game, while visually similar to Dark Souls in some ways, will actually have its fair share of differences. Sekiro is not an RPG. There are no stats or leveling up or equipable weapons or armor. Honestly, I'm pretty okay with this, and this is coming from someone who loves the Dark Souls formula. Miyazaki needed a break from Soulsborne in my opinion, and this seems like the perfect route for him to go. But then of course, after Sekiro releases in 2019, he can get started on Bloodborne 2 for the PS5. We also saw a new Jump crossover fighting game called Jump Force, and people got all excited about it on Twitter, but it's not made by Arc System Works. So it's ugly as hell, and it will be bad, like the other Jump crossover games by Spike Chunsoft. Seriously, it's gonna be bad. So bad. Anyways, let's wash the taste of that out of our mouths with one of the biggest announcements of E3. That's right, Devil May Cry 5. This was the first announcement of the show to really have me jumping out of my seat with excitement. Capcom is officially back, kids. They're finally back, and it makes me so happy. The game runs in Capcom's own RE engine, it features 3 playable characters, and looks absolutely incredible. Like, for some reason, I was expecting something graphically closer to DMC4, but no, this is truly a giant step forward for the franchise graphically, and from the gameplay we've seen, it's just more of the fast-paced, combo-heavy fun you would expect from the traditional Devil May Cry series. It's set to launch in spring 2019, and I'm so damn hype. If you watched my prediction video, you know how excited I was about Rare potentially reviving a long-dormant franchise. A classic Rare title that everyone remembers fondly. a rare title featuring those lovable, colorful, charming animals as playable characters. A new Battletoads. A new Battletoads? Well, to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Banjo-Kazooie during this era of revived interest in 3D platformers, we are getting a new 2.5D Battletoads in 2019. That's about all we know because we literally got zero footage of the game. Just text over a black background, which was kinda weird. Honestly, I can't say I'm too excited for this. I like the original Battletoads well enough, and this game has been teased time and time again for what feels like 10 years now, but I'm not gonna lie, I wanted Banjo real bad, and the internet seems to feel the same way. I'm salty, kids. Hopefully they could turn this one around for me with some actual gameplay footage in the near future, but for now, I'm just gonna stay really, really mad. Okay, I'm done being mad because Microsoft closed the show with an absolute banger, and for many, the undisputed game of the show, Cyberpunk 2077. This game looks gorgeous from head to toe. It's like dripping with atmosphere. It's so cyberpunk. I can't even deal with it. Unfortunately, the trailer pretty much just looked like some cutscenes edited together, and no release date was provided. However, the real hype for me comes from the behind closed doors demo that CD Projekt Red provided at the show, and the impressions that followed. I have it on good authority from trusted sources that the game looks and plays absolutely incredible, and it's been described as Grand Theft Auto with a cyberpunk aesthetic. Those were just the magic words I needed to hear for me to be super excited for the game. I can only hope that the public will be able to see that secret gameplay footage sooner rather than later. However, despite the non-stop barrage of games on stage, I think this E3 for Microsoft more than anything was set up for the future of the Xbox brand. It goes without saying that they needed to have a strong show, and they delivered on that for sure. However, Phil Spencer straight up came onto that stage and announced all of the teams that Microsoft recently acquired: Ninja Theory, Undead Labs, Playground Games, and Compulsion Games. They also opened a new studio in Santa Monica called The Initiative. That is 5 new first-party teams working on Xbox exclusive games, and that is something Microsoft sorely needs as we head into the next generation. And if it wasn't obvious that next gen is quickly approaching, Phil Spencer outright teased the next generation Xbox. We have since learned that the code name for the console is apparently Scarlet, and it's supposedly set for a 2020 release. So, on the note of first-party Xbox exclusives, let's talk about those 50 games they showed and how many were actually exclusive to Xbox. We had the announcement of 3 separate Gears of War games with Gears 5, Gears Tactics, and Gears Pop, which is possibly the most inappropriate crossover of all time. However, only Gears 5 is actually coming to Xbox One. You also have Halo, Ori, Forza, Session, Tunic, and Battletoads. I feel like a lot of these titles are really known quantities and not super exciting. I came out of Microsoft's show a lot more excited about third-party announcements rather than the first-party Xbox exclusives. This is why I think it's so important that Microsoft acquired all of these studios. Some new IP or unique takes on older IP is exactly what Microsoft needs right now, as opposed to another Gears or another Forza or another Halo. I think Microsoft is on pace to close out this generation on a high note and come out guns blazing in 2020 with the beginning of the next generation. And I fully expect to see a ton of new, exclusive, exciting first-party Xbox titles being revealed as we get closer and closer to that date. Well, that's about it for today. Overall, I enjoyed Microsoft's press conference, even though there were a couple of things that annoyed me about it, like the lack of gameplay footage for Cyberpunk or Halo, and Banjo-Kazooie's absence. But Devil May Cry made it all worth it, so you know what? We're good. Overall, I'm definitely optimistic about Xbox going forward. Next up, I'll have a Sony press conference recap video up on the channel. So if you like this video and want to see more, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and take care.